Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast series, presented each week by the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce and brought to you by our good friends at Appalachian Commercial Real Estate and UNC Health Appalachian. I am David Jackson, President and CEO of the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. This is the final episode of Mind Your Business for 2023. No show next week with the holiday break. We look forward to bringing you plenty more news and information about the business climate in Northwest North Carolina as we move into 2024. So, final show of the year, we got to come up with a big ender, right? The swan song episode needs nothing less. So with that said, we are excited today to talk about Watauga Leadership Institute, which is, of course, the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce's community leadership development program, and one that we have had operating here for quite some time and are awfully proud of. We've got one of our graduates joining us today, and Duane Wade, the Director of Operations for the Hampton Inn and Suites of Boone, a longtime friend of the Chamber, I believe first-time guest on the program. So, Duane, first, let us give you a proper Mind Your Business welcome, and thank you for helping us cap 2023 on such a positive note.
Well, thank you. I'm proud to be here and excited to be a part of this. I'm always a supporter of the Chamber and Watauga Leadership. I can definitely attest to the greatness of it. So thank you for having me.
Well, and greatness is what you bring to our community each and every day, for sure. Duane, I want to start this conversation about the importance of leadership development, whether it is coming through a program like Watauga Leadership Institute in the cohorts that are available there, or as your business has and many others have, just finding intentional places to work on staff development, whether that's from a personal perspective or as a leader, making sure that your team members have that opportunity and have that support with them. So I think the natural place to start here is, as you have been a leader for many years in your profession, what is it about your own professional development that has driven you to find opportunities like Watauga Leadership or other programs in the past?
Well, I think the key word is what you said, being intentional. As we are developing leaders and being developed ourselves, because I believe it's an ongoing process, it's important that you're constantly looking at areas to grow, areas that you're maybe having some shortcomings in, and being a part of Boone and being part of the high country. As you know, we do a lot of partnerships with App State, so we get a lot of students that are in the workplace here. So it's crucial that we're preparing them to be the leaders in whatever field they go into. So leadership developed to me is very important, because it's us helping to prepare the next generation for what hospitality or whatever corporate America or whatever independent business they're going into. So for me myself, when to be a part of the Watauga Leadership Challenge Watauga Leadership was to network with great leaders in this community and learn from those people, to learn those things that I don't know. And then this way we pass those things on to the others that we are in contact with.
Over the course of the last several years, really since the property has been open, and we've talked about this before, Hampton Inn and Suites of Boone has been one of the most recognized and rewarded hotel properties within the Hampton Inn chain, among the Hilton family of hotels. Customer service marks that exceed 99% of Hampton Inns around the country. This is a well-decorated and well-oiled machine of a property here in our community. And I know that comes with a lot of intentionality, like you just mentioned, but I've always felt like a core piece of that is the way that you all will find emerging leaders within your own staff and help them find that pathway. With that has come great staff continuity. How much do you feel like one fuels the other, that showing support, showing a staff member that you're invested in them has helped you retain staff at a time in our kind of business culture that staff retention is like top of mind for every manager out there?
Well, for us, it's understanding that whenever someone takes the opportunity to walk through your door and apply to work in your business or whatever, they're investing in you. They're taking a chance. They can hear all of these things about how great the hotel is, but they don't know 100% for sure. Once they're in that door and we show them that we are who we say we are, and we're invested in them the same way they're invested in us, we're looking for ways to help them reach those goals of whatever they're trying to do in life. So once you make that personal connection, when you're having one-on-ones with them and finding out how their week is, or just if you're noticing there's a shifting in maybe their temperament, like you just want to check in with people from time to time and show them that you're there and you care about them. We hear about open door policies, but sometimes the open door needs to be at a coffee shop. The open door needs to be and somewhere outside of the workplace where they can feel comfortable sharing that some of the struggles they're going through, some of the challenges they're having. And we want to have the tools in our toolbox to go ahead and assist them in any way that we can.
So let's get into your experience. It's been a couple of years since you came through Watauga Leadership Challenge. You're one of those satisfied customers to the point where now you're actually a facilitator for us and have talked to classes since your graduation. But kind of describe the experience from walking in the door the first day to kind of crossing the graduation stage of sorts. What did you feel like some of the top takeaways were for you in the Watauga Leadership Challenge class?
One of the things I appreciated so much about the leadership program is the vast wisdom that comes from all of the people, like when you have Dr. Street and people from the community that come in and talk to us about the things they have gone through, right? Because this is a journey we all go through. So as we're a leader in development, and again, I can't emphasize enough, we're constantly becoming leaders in every area of our lives. So even though there's never an arrival place, but there's always another place to attain. You close one chapter, you begin another one. So what I've experienced and I appreciate so much through the leadership program is that wealth of wisdom, is that sharing of what they have been through and giving us the tools for success. Because it's very important that even though we're developed as leaders and we're pouring into the next generation of leaders, we don't forget that we are continuing our journey as well. There's never an ending point. There's a continuous journey. A quote that I like to share with people is, "You're only as old as your ability to process new information." So we keep ourselves open and available to what new information we need to help others.
I forgive me for not remembering this spot on from a few years ago. I don't believe that you were brand new to the community at the time that you came through Watauga Leadership, but hadn't been in Boone forever. I'll put it to you like that. So,
Right.
with the traveling nature of Watauga Leadership Challenge, and that we would take the lesson of the day, so to speak, and go around and find different examples of that lesson throughout the community. How much did that help you understand your own community more by maybe seeing some places that you traditionally might not have gone to?
Actually, that's very good. I'm glad you brought that up because that was something I was thinking about last night when you had talked to me. So my first impression in the first place, and I'll never forget that we went to, was Hatchet Coffee. And to hear Jeremy be so passionate about his success, how he was pouring into people. And it was something that Jeremy said that stuck with me. He said, "I'm not in this business to destroy or crush competition. I'm in competition with myself. Why can't we all be successful?" And something about that mindset stuck with me. I love the fact that he's in business and he knows that there's other coffee shops, but everybody has their own thing. We can all be successful. It's like there's plenty of room at the top, but it's the bottom that's crowded. So we always want to make sure that when I hear things like that from someone, it's a different mindset. And I believe we're in a place now in society that people don't want bosses, they want leaders. And when you hear that kind of leadership, it's appealing. It's something you want to see more of, you want to hear more of. So for me, going through the Hatchet Coffee experience, going through all of these different businesses, and I learned a lot more about the community. And one thing I've learned about Boone is that there is a very strong sense of community. But oftentimes, depending on where we come from, if we don't see that, it's unfamiliar. So seeing that through the various businesses, through the various people that have come and spoke to us, we get a stronger sense of what community looks like, and therefore it drives our desire to be a part of that community.
Along those lines, one of the things that I think I've enjoyed as a graduate of Watauga Leadership Challenge, certainly, but certainly getting a chance to be around this group every year that the chamber puts this program on, the camaraderie that comes from each individual class and how those classes tend to stick together, or professional and personal relationships are developed along the way. How much do you interact with your classmates still from back then in terms of maybe professional opportunities, or just finding a few friends along the way?
Yeah, there are still some connections that are made that from time to time, and we're understanding of people's being busy, short staffed. So there are sometimes I'll get an email, hey, just checking in, how are things going? Just little things like maybe it'll be, hey, we want to do something with your sales department. So we're constantly just kind of looking for opportunities to how we serve that community, and it's just fun to just sit and reminisce about the things we've learned together. And I've never had anyone that didn't grasp something from the Watauga leadership. There's always something we all pull differently. And one of my greatest, earliest rememberings of that is when Dr. Street gave us all a question to ask one another. And, we go to these events and there's these icebreakers and it feels kind of like, okay. But this was more personal, like, what is your favorite song? What is a fond memory? What is your favorite place to go? And you start engaging people on a deeper level. And as we're engaging people on a deeper level, we build stronger relationships. So it's not just a one-dimensional conversation. This is us really getting to know each other. And in that aspect, how do we support each other along the journey? So it's always fun to run into people, even if just in the supermarket. There's this like loud scream and everybody's thinking like something happened, but we're just excited to see each other still doing well in the community. So it's always just fun to run into familiar faces.
I now know what all those loud noises are in the supermarket. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you
it's not me though.
That's right. That's right. Well, Duane, I know from your role as director of operations at the Hampton Inn, you have since you have come through Watauga Leadership, you have had several staff members come through there. When you are able to see team members start to have some of those light bulb moments, or maybe kind of come along the same pathway that maybe you have, and every class is a little bit different, but you get some of those same shared experiences. From a managerial standpoint, can you kind of speak to the value of what professional development, again, whether it's Watauga Leadership or something else, brings to the overall team building, morale, camaraderie, but even executive pathways forward for a team that, again, you guys are probably one of the best in promoting from within. I would imagine that the more that you sink into professional development for your staff, the more those opportunities continue.
Yeah, that's true. And thank you for bringing that up, because we truly believe in promoting from within, because again, someone has invested in us. So what we're not going to do is insult that person by bringing somebody in that they're going to train and become their supervisor. It's a smack in the face of what you've invested in. So what we do is we look for opportunities like Watauga Leadership, because when I came back from my first experience with it, I couldn't stop talking about it, to the point other staff members started going to my GM and saying, hey, can I go to this? Because I want to be a part of this. So when people hear you excited about growing and they're looking for opportunities to learn something new, I strongly believe that Watauga Leadership is one of the crucial places to go to, because there's a vast amount of interaction. There's a vast amount of people they're going to interact with that they wouldn't have any other opportunity to interact with. So when you have people that are showing a desire to grow, we are looking for, we know we're not the only source of information, right? So we know, as we're connected with great partners like the Boone Chamber and have opportunities like Watauga Leadership, we can guide those people to those directions, and we just sit back and wait for them to come back with that excitement, that zeal. And we look for opportunities to then grow that they've learned, and help them to also help the next person to say, hey, you know what? I was a part of this. It was amazing. It'll do this for your life. And hopefully it keeps, just keeps building upon that.
Duane, you've had an incredibly successful career in hotel management and operations. And I know that as workforce has evolved in the time that you've been in roles similar to the one you're in now, management always has to evolve to what is going to help bring
Mhm.
people through the door and make sure that staff stays and continuity exists. I think again we have seen the opportunity for retention of staff
Mhm.
sneak up to the top of our priority list across the board.
Yeah.
As you look from your perch in a management position, what are some of the things that you might recommend to others that are having issues with continuity or retention that
Mhm.
that at least from the Hampton Inn's perspective, hey, these things have worked for us,
Yeah.
and whether it gets unlocked in Watauga leadership or not, I think we can all speak with some common language right now about um, different ways that businesses have invested in their staff to make sure that staff retention is there and the onboarding costs move
Mhm.
down and harmony can exist within a business.
You have to let people know that you care. That's important nowadays because my generation, I grew up with having, we use the word boss a lot. Oh, my boss this, my boss that, and I believe the time now is that leaders, as leaders, are developing, and we're in a position to develop leaders. There's a yearning for the more, and whatever the more is for each individual, we want to have those opportunities to sit have one-on-ones. So we do a lot of one-on-ones with our staff members. We'll check in with them like, once a week. We'll check in with them every 2 weeks. And we'll just keep looking for things or ways that we can help them grow. It could be a personal standpoint. It may not be work related, but they may just say, I just feel like I'm stagnant in life. This is not happening. So we look for ways to kind of help them to grow in other areas of their life, because we don't want people to be defined by the job that they have, but by the impact that they're having. So whenever we have a team member that is like excited about working with us, we want them to share the word. Hey, share with your coworkers. I mean, not your coworkers. Share with your friends, your family, the people that you're in connection with within this community, so that when they talk about, yeah, I hate my job, say, well, you want to come where I'm at, because they care about us and they take care of us and they're constantly checking in on us, and we just create a fun atmosphere where people look forward to just coming in, and they're supported. And that's the key word. Feeling supported where you are is the difference with retaining people and losing people. Because in the interview process, we don't want to hear people bash their former employees. We're looking for the things that made them want to leave, and we want to make sure we're not repeating the same process, because you can have toxic relationships in the workplace. So we don't want people to feel like, oh, I left this last place and it was horrible, this next place is going to be the same thing. We want to be the example of, this is what the workplace should look like. And oftentimes that is the difference between people staying 6 months to a year to 2 years. Especially, again, we have a lot of students on our staff, and a lot of them will be like, you know what, I went somewhere else, but I'm coming back here. So it's good to hear that, because they've learned that this is different, and this is what I want to see in the workplace.
Final question for you, Duane. I'm going to try to channel my best inner Dr. Jim Street here, and again, take this back as far as you've been in your career in leadership positions. Doesn't have to necessarily just be about Watauga leadership, but if you could pinpoint one area of your own personal leadership growth from the time that you started in the industry to today, what do you feel like the area that maybe you've come the farthest in, or maybe that area that you set off a few years ago that said,
Mhm.
I want to work on this? What's that journey been like for you?
Uh, I've had good mentors, and when I saw the good mentors I had, I wanted to become that. I wanted to become someone in the workplace, in the leadership position, that team members could come to. No matter what the situation was, they could come to and feel safe in an environment that they could share some of their challenges. So for me, the mentorship capacity was very important, because I wanted to be a voice that could speak into chaos and help to bring order to it, whatever that meant for that individual. So for me, the mentor process was very important. I saw great mentors in the supervisors that I'd had, that saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and helped to develop that thing. And so in every aspect of leadership, I think the mentor aspect of it is very, very important. And it really helped me to become a better leader. And as I grew into that, I found myself surrounded by great leaders, and I draw to great leaders. And so whenever I see someone that is having some challenges, that mentor in me comes alive and looks for ways to be available and to assist any way possible. So it definitely would be the mentoring aspect.
Well, I can't think of many better mentors than you. And when you said speak into chaos, man, I think that I have seen you do this. I've observed you de-escalating situations
Hmm.
within the property that happen in every business
Hmm.
on a given day, and you have a way about you that is truly everything that you just embodied. It's calming, it's nurturing, but it's also very professional and empowering. And I think that no matter how leaders find ways to develop and hone their own skills, that continual work is important because,
Yes.
hey, I think that we've all experienced that the workplace has changed
Yeah.
dramatically, let alone the last 3 years, but really over the last decade or so. And
Yeah.
the same tricks that maybe you and I came up in don't
Hmm.
necessarily work anymore. So I applaud you for always going back and continuing to find ways to adjust to what the needs are now.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, David. I appreciate all that you guys do. And again, you were part of that journey. So I'm definitely a fan of the Boone Chamber, and I'm definitely a fan of Watauga Leadership. And no one can do Dr. Street. I tried it myself. It's just impossible.
You have to do all the hand gestures and
Yeah.
mannerisms, and
Yeah.
that
It's too
that
much
gets
work.
complicated.
Yeah. It's too
Yeah.
much work.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, Duane, thanks for taking some time with us. Appreciate everything that you and your staff at the Hampton Inn and Suites of Boone do to make our community so strong. You're one of those places that people come to and always have a fantastic experience, and that brings them back. So we appreciate you. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday season ahead.
Thank you, David. Same to you and yours, man. Take care. Look forward to it next year with all of this, man. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Take care.